Okay, so there's a new accusation making the rounds, in the office, in the classroom, and it's time we really stop and think about what it actually means. We're going to dig into that phrase written by AI and figure out what's really going on. You've heard this, right? I bet you have. Maybe you've even said it yourself after reading something that just felt a little off, a little too perfect, maybe a little inhuman. It's become this automatic, knee-jerk thing to say, but what are we really pointing at? No, really, let's pause on that. When we say that, what are we trying to identify? Are we talking about the specific way something was made, or is it just a gut feeling? Getting that difference right is, honestly, the key to having a much better conversation about all this. So here's the uncomfortable truth of it all. That hard line we imagine exists between human writing and AI writing. It's way, way blurrier than we think. In fact, for most of us, it might not even be there at all.
We love to think of this as a simple black and white thing. Either a person wrote it or a machine did. End of story. But the reality? It's a whole spectrum of assistance. And spoiler alert, we are all living somewhere on that spectrum every single day.
Just think about your days so far. Did you use spell check? Let your email finish a sentence for you? What about accepting a grammar suggestion? Yep, all of those are forms of AI that are just built into the tools we use without even thinking about it. The point is, we're already AI-assisted writers. So when we say something looks AI written, we're not actually calling out a specific tool or a process. We're reacting to a certain style. Let's just call it the AI vibe. You know the one. It's that generic, super polished feeling that's missing a real, recognizable human voice. And this leads to a really important moment of self-reflection. When we make that judgment, are we truly evaluating the work, the actual ideas, the argument being made, or are we just reacting to that vibe without bothering to dig any deeper? Okay, this is where we make a shift. We can move away from this whole culture of suspicion and snap judgments and move toward a way of thinking that's more curious, more accurate, and, let's be honest, way more useful. Just look at the change in focus here. The old question, did AI touch this? It's completely obsessed with the tool. But the better question, who is accountable for this work? That's all about human responsibility. It completely shifts the conversation from the what to the who. And this is what accountability actually looks like in practice. It's not about whether you avoided the tools. It's about whether you mastered them. Did the writer actually engage with the tech critically? Did they take the time to refine what it gave them? And most importantly, did their own voice, their own judgment stay at the very heart of the work? So this idea of accountability or responsibility, that's step one in a new three-part framework. Step two is competence. Do we, as the people evaluating the work, even understand these tools well enough to judge fairly? And then step three, responsiveness. How do we react when someone is actually open about how they did their work? That third one, responsiveness, is so important. Because this isn't just about technology, right? It's about people. It's about whether we're building a culture at work that's based on trust or one that's based on suspicion. I mean, think about it. You've got two paths. The first one, suspicion, just slams the door on any real conversation. But the second one, curiosity, well, that opens the door to dialogue, to learning, and to honesty. And you can see the direct result of our response right here. When people are afraid they'll be judged for using tools that are, frankly, becoming standard, well, we create a world where just hiding the truth feels like the safer choice. Curiosity, though, that builds an environment where people feel safe enough to be honest. The good news is we can start building that culture of trust, right now. And it all starts with a simple but really powerful change in the questions we're asking. So instead of that loaded, accusatory question, was this written by AI? Try asking something that actually reflects reality. Something like, was this AI assisted, and to what degree? This question accepts that we're all on that spectrum we talked about, and it opens up a real conversation about how the work was done. And that right there brings us to the single most important idea in this whole explainer. This is the big takeaway. The tool itself is not the issue. The real issue is whether the person stayed connected to their own creation. At the end of the day, it's about the human qualities that have always defined good work, and they still do. Attentiveness, effort, voice, and care. That is what we should be looking for, not which apps they happen to use along the way. So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. As these tools get more and more woven into everything we do, the real challenge isn't figuring out how to avoid them. The real challenge is figuring out how to use them without losing that essential human connection, that relationship with the things we create.